Hi, I'm Dennis Phillips, and welcome to Everyday Reloading and Shooting. All right, to give you a brief introduction to this video, from our last outing at the range, we were comparing two powders, Accurate 2460 and Hodgson's H335, using a 53 grain VMAX bullet. And we shot this group at the lowest charge weight of 24.6 with a group size of 0.43 and a mean radius of 0.14. And so here's a clip from that analysis of that last outing at the range, talking about what it is that we're going to do today. Now, because this was at the lowest charge weight, and as we increase the charge weights, the group seemed to open up. I'm wondering if there might be a load there below that 24.6 that might perform better, because we're at 3,000 feet per second right there at the 24.6 grains. So we've got a little bit of room there to back that charge down and see if maybe we can get that group to tighten up with the H335 powder. So that's worth checking out. Okay, so in today's video, we're shooting that same 53 grain VMAX bullet, and we have charge weights starting at 23.8, going to 24, 24.2, 24.4, and ending up at 24.6, which was that previous charge weight, which had the best load, and we want to see how these will perform. All right, so stay tuned. All right, welcome back to the channel. Once again, we're at the Georgia Gun Club's 100-yard indoor rifle range. And again, I'm shooting my Tikka T3X mounted in an MDT Oryx chassis, chambered in 223 Remington with an Arken SH4 6-24 by 50 rifle scope. And as indicated in the introduction, we're going to expand on our load data with the H335 powder. We had found a really good charge at 24.6 grains, and after that, at the higher charge weights, those groups opened up. So there's a lot of room. We were at around 3,100 feet per second at that 24.6 charge weight. So what we're going to do today is we're going to explore the lower range on the charge weights, and we're going to start at 23.8, and we're going to go to 24, 24.2, 24.4, and end up back again at 24.6 grains of powder. We're shooting a 53 grain VMAX, but I will first shoot a 5-shot fouling group using the same charge weight, but with a 52 grain boat tail hollow point by Hornady. So we'll use that to get the target sighted in, get the barrel fouled and warmed up, and then we'll be shooting 5-shot groups at each charge weight. We'll measure the velocities with the Garmin C1 Pro chronograph, and I'll get back to you here in just a little bit with the results. As always, you're welcome to enjoy the music while I fast forward through my shooting, or you can skip forward to the results that follow. Shooting at 100 yards. All right, these all seem to group very similarly, but let's bring them in and take a look. Okay, this was our fouling group. That looks to be right at an inch, maybe just under. And after I shot these 5, I moved the scope up 2 clicks and over 1 click. And then I shot the rest of the targets at that setting. Our first group at that same charge weight, 23.8, we probably have a pretty tight mean radius here with a group just under an inch. At 24 grains, it looks like we may be just under an inch. Same at 24.2, same at 24.4, same at 24.6. So some of these are fairly round. Some of these are a little just kind of vertical. But anyway, we will take these home. We will measure these with the Hornady Ballistics app. We will look at the group size as well as the mean radius and the average point of impact and get back to you with the results. Stay tuned. All right, I'm back from the range and I've had a chance to measure my targets and analyze the results. And we're shooting H335 powder, and we have charge weights from 23.8 to 24.6 with a 53 grain VMAX bullet. We shot a fouling group, which we used a 52 grain boat tail hollow point bullet for that, very close to the same charge weight, but a different bullet. But we had a group size of 0.77 with a mean radius of 0.35. We were shooting pretty much on target and slightly to the left, and I didn't want to destroy my point of aim. So after shooting that target, I adjusted the scope 2 clicks up and 1 click to the right to kind of center that point of aim and get that point of impact so as not to destroy the point of aim. On our first group at 23.8 grains of powder, we had a group size of 0.69 inches and a mean radius of 0.28. Of course, a radius is half of a circle, so if you double that, that gives you an average group size of 0.56. We had our best standard deviation at 13.6 with an average velocity of 29.41. What I did notice here, and you'll see on this target, and I've drawn a line here connecting the average point of impact. I've marked the average point of impact in these groups with a red cross that you see here. And then as you follow the targets along, you'll see that the average point of impact goes from 1.29 inches to 1.59 to 1.84 to 1.99 to 2.34. So it's basically a straight line increase in the average point of impact of these bullets, although that average point of impact is very consistent. It not only increases in elevation, as that barrel is torquing and twisting, that average point of impact is actually moving further to the right. So you see here in our first group, we're slightly left of center. To the middle group, we're slightly right of center. To the end group, we're far right of center. So moving on, with group 2, we had an average group size of 0.75 inches with a mean radius of 0.29 inches. We had an average velocity of 29.91 and a standard deviation of 23.1. At 24.2 grains of powder, we had a group size of 0.86 inches and a mean radius of 0.35. So it's starting to open up just a little bit. We had an average velocity of 30.38 and a standard deviation of 25.6. At 24.4 grains of powder, we're at 0.81 inches on the group size with a mean radius of 0.31. We had an average velocity of 30.65 and a standard deviation of 32.6. At 24.6 grains of powder, we had, again, a group size of 0.81 inches, a mean radius of 0.35, an average velocity of 31.17, and a standard deviation of 29.2. So on these, where we're shooting the lighter bullet with the faster burning powder, it does seem like the lighter bullets do prefer that faster burning powder. The best group of the day was here at this lowest charge weight at 23.8 grains of powder with a group size of 0.69 inches and a mean radius of 0.28. Again, it also had the best standard deviation of 13.6. So if you're going to be working with the lighter grain bullets, I would suggest that you consider a faster burning powder, as those definitely seem to perform better as demonstrated here. All right, those are my results. If you have any thoughts, ideas, suggestions, questions, please leave those in the comments below. I try to interact with everybody that comments. I hope you will also like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching.